and advertisers.
Welcome to Las Vegas. Welcome to Australia's Thunderdome Down Under. The world's number one girls' night out that performs every night. Excalibur Hotel in the city. But what happens in Vegas happens at Thunder.
It's time for the most interactive radio program in Las Vegas today. It's time for Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Now, Pushing the Limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
All right, what's happening, everybody? It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you for joining us on a hump day, Wednesday, a beautiful day in the Valley. And broadcasting everywhere on the AM, FM dial. Of course, broadcasting on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, you name it. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. And we got some great guests lined up for you today, and we got a lot to talk about. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Rabbi Vitz Vine, who's been on this show before. He's done radio before he had his own show. And I wish we can talk to him under better circumstances, but kind of get his thoughts on the Palestinian-Israel conflict, Hamas, and of course all these innocent people that have tragically lost their lives. It's just so horrible. And I have more thoughts on that I want to share with you as we learn a little bit more about this situation. So the rabbi will be joining us here at the bottom of the hour in studio. We got Blake Gwynn from Keller Williams going to be joining us later on in hour number 2. Plenty to get to with him. Before I get to some serious stories, and we're going to talk about Steve Scalise, we're going to talk about George Santos. We're going to talk about the latest with the Israel-Palestinian conflict and Hamas and hostages. And there's a lot more information that we've learned in the last 24 hours. I'm going to get to all that with you. But I do want to start with some pleasant news to start the show, if I may, before we get into some serious topics. First of all, great performance by the Vegas Golden Knights last night. I was lucky enough to be there in the home opener. It was a lot of fun. They raised the banner. And I'm going to tell you, the Seattle Kraken are not a bad hockey team. They're an above-average hockey team. I consider them to be a playoff team. They will be. And that was a really fun night, and the Knights took off right where they left off as far as I'm concerned. They looked like a Stanley Cup team, and they were great. Aiden Hill was phenomenal. Took off right where he left off in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was phenomenal. He made some great saves yesterday. Marchessault looked great out there. Mark Stone is healthy. Carlson looked good. Barbashev is a beast. And they got 3 really, really good lines. Fourth line's not bad either, but you talk about 3 really good lines. So anyway, congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a lot of fun. I caught up with Danny Negreanu at the game. A lot of the local celebrities were there, and just a great performance by the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to continue to cover them, of course. And we will have Dan Duva on the show next week, and we'll get right into it, man. But the hockey season is officially underway, and the Vegas Golden Knights have not lost a game this season. Nice game last night by the Knights. The WNBA Finals, Game 2 in Las Vegas tonight. I will be there with a very special celebrity guest. I think my friends already know who I'm bringing, but I'll probably talk more about that next week. I am taking the next 2 days off, and the reason why I'm taking the next 2 days off, and I usually do this when the PGA Tour's in town because I'm a big golf fan. The Shriners Hospital for Children's Open also starts tomorrow. We got NASCAR this weekend. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I'm taking the next 2 days off. The same guest will be here. Paul McCaskey will be here tomorrow. Nicole Mitchell will be on the show Friday, and Chris Wynn will be filling in for me. So B-Shap is going to be taking a little 4-day weekend. I need it, to be honest with you. And Chris Wynn will do a great job holding the fort. Sadly, Phil Kessel's streak has ended because nobody picked him up. I did want to bring that to note because I think Phil Kessel can still play, and I think he can still contribute to a team. The guy was averaging 12 minutes a game for the Knights. He wasn't even on the power play, and he still had close to 40 points last year. So I still believe Phil Kessel has a little bit left in the tank. He still lives here in Las Vegas. But other than that, as I said, great performance by the Vegas Golden Knights. So we will continue to monitor. Of course, we have UNR and UNLV. I wish the game was here, but it is on the road for UNLV. I expect UNLV to win. They're a good football team. They're a pretty good football team. I expect them to beat Nevada Reno. Not a good football team. So a lot of sports in town, man. It's crazy. I just interviewed LeBron James the other day. We got the WNBA Finals I'm going to today. VGK last night. We got NASCAR this weekend. We got the Shriners Hospital for Children's open, PGA Tour in town. I mean, there is so much going on right now, sports-wise, in this town. And, folks, it's only going to get better. The F1 is right around the corner, which I probably will not be going to because it's going to be a you-know-what show. But how many wealthy Saudi Arabians will be in town for that? Probably quite a few. So I want to get into breaking news, a lot of different stuff going on Capitol Hill, and we're going to give you updates, of course, on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and so on and so forth. But I do want to start with this. George Santos, haven't really talked about him in a while. He is obviously a disgrace, a liar, a cheater, you name it, just a despicable human being. And federal prosecutors late yesterday filed a significant array of additional charges against the representative, accusing him of new criminal schemes, including stealing the identities and credit card details of donors to his campaign. Let me repeat that again because it is such a douchebag, scumbag move. He stole the identities and credit card details of donors in his campaign. Now, you can go ahead and use the term allegedly. I'm going to go ahead and say he probably did this, ladies and gentlemen. The new accusations were made in this 23-count indictment that laid out how Santos had charged his donors' credit cards repeatedly without their authorization, distributing the money to his and other candidates' campaigns to his own bank account. Now, of course, in typical George Santos fashion, he was found in the House chambers this morning. Reporters were following him. And in typical George Santos fashion, he tried to avoid the questions and pretended like he was on a phone call. Have a listen to this exchange right here.
No comment. I did not have access to my phone.
Prosecutors say you're the fraud of the American public. Will you resign?
What you guys are talking about? No, I will not. Excuse me.
They said that you stole people's identities. Did you steal people's identities? Did you commit identity fraud? Will you step down?
I will not. I have no comment. I was in conference like everyone else without my phone, so I have nothing to talk about. I need to take a look at it.
Did you commit fraud?
Nope.
Basic question. Did you
The answer
identity
to that
fraud?
is no.
Did you charge your credit card donors money? Did you use their credit cards to reward yourself? That's the allegation.
No. I will look at it.
Why shouldn't you be able to vote in the speaker's election? Such a key election when you've been charged with all these crimes.
Just slams the door in his face. Manu Raju, CNN. Some photographer fell down. This guy is such an idiot. He's such a scumbag, George Santos. Yeah, he has no idea what this is all about. Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. I'm sure you had no idea this was coming. I'm sure your attorneys didn't tell you. I haven't had access to my phone. Meanwhile, he has his phone in his hand. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. No, I don't know anything about this, you idiot. You criminal puke. Oh. How long has this guy been in office and Republicans still have yet to out him? I mean, maybe he'll be forced to resign now. Maybe. How corrupt is the Republican Party today? Let's be honest here. A guy like a George Santos can remain in this party and he's not forced to resign. I mean, Al Franken pretended like he was touching a woman's breast in a picture from God knows how many years ago. And Democrats said, nope, Al, you got to go. The difference, again, the fundamental difference today between Republicans and Democrats. A guy like George Santos would have been outed as a Democrat months and months ago. Would have never got to this point. But Republicans, it's such a clown show. They let this guy, George Santos, remain in office. It's a joke. Oh, speaking of clowns, Steve Scalise, it appears as though Steve Scalise is going to be the next House Speaker. A lot of people on Twitter and on social media are calling him McCarthy 2.0. I think Scalise is even worse because last I checked, McCarthy didn't speak in front of white supremacists at a group back in 2002. Steve Scalise did that. That's right. Guess who that was run by? David Duke. These are the people that Steve Scalise surrounds himself with. I'm sure Steve Scalise might tell you there's good people on both sides. This is now going to be the House Speaker. Say what you want about Hakeem Jeffries. He's smart. He's educated. He's not a bigot. You can disagree with him on policy. Hakeem Jeffries has never spoken in front of any type of supremacists or Jewish haters or what have you. Last I checked, Hakeem Jeffries doesn't have anything like that happening. That's exactly what Steve Scalise did, and that's the face of the Republican Party besides Donald Trump, Steve Scalise. Oh, yeah. By the way, don't you find it very interesting that Steve Scalise is using government health care currently to recover from blood cancer, only to become the House Minority Leader and do everything in his power to take Medicare away from millions who have no other options. So rich people don't have to pay taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Steve Scalise. Yes, the same guy for years who talked about anti-masking, anti-mask wearing. We will not comply. Nobody should be forced to wear a mask. We shouldn't have to wear a mask in the House chambers. And lately, for a few weeks, all of a sudden now Steve Scalise is wearing a mask. Why? Because it affects him, because he has cancer. And by the way, I support that. I support the fact that he's wearing a mask. He has cancer. He's listening to his doctors. But only when it works for him will he wear a mask. Let's forget about everybody else. Again, this guy is the guy that's going to be the House Speaker for the Republican Party. A complete and utter scumbag. Yes, Steve Scalise is a scumbag. He's a hypocritical, MAGA far-right a-hole. That's who Steve Scalise is. Steve Scalise is on record as saying he's David Duke without the baggage. What is that statement supposed to mean? I take it as, I don't like Jews. I don't like black people. But I don't have the David Duke baggage. That's what I take out of that statement, and I believe that's who Steve Scalise is. I don't call him Kevin McCarthy 2.0. I call him David Duke 2.0. That's who Steve Scalise is. He's a hypocrite, and he's a liar. And while all this stuff is going on within the Republican Party, George Santel is still a representative. Steve Scalise, who has rubbed shoulders with guys like David Duke. We see some of this pro-Palestine in these rallies across the country. And sadly, a local Las Vegas group is holding one of these rallies. And I saw it on social media. I'm not going to say when it is. I'm not going to say where it is because I think it's despicable. Not everybody that is pro-Palestine is despicable. That's not what I'm saying. Here's what I am saying. In the latest news that we received, reports out of Israel, 40 babies were beheaded. 40 babies in Israel were beheaded. More bodies are being found. Families ripped away, never seeing their children and their loved ones ever again. Israelis being tortured by Hamas. If you're pro-Palestine, now is not the time. Now is not the time. And I would go the other direction and say the same thing. God forbid if we had terrorist organizations, unprovoked, killing thousands of innocent Palestinian people and babies and beheading babies. And then I saw a bunch of pro-Israel protests. I would say the exact same thing to them. Now is not the time. In my personal opinion, these days, in the last several days, if you're holding these pro-Palestine rallies, they're also pro-Hamas because you're supporting what Hamas did. You can say you're not supporting it, but your actions speak otherwise. Israel is going to retaliate. Israel is retaliating. Israel has the right to retaliate. What does it say about you when we learn of these innocent people in Israel that were tortured, in some cases babies beheaded? What does it say about you that your first reaction after you hear of innocent loss of life is to hold a pro-Palestine rally? What does that say about you? Really, I'd like to know. And there are members of Black Lives Matter, some of the organization, that are also putting forth this rhetoric as well. Extremely disappointing. and despicable as far as I am concerned. So we have this rally that's going to be taking place this week. And I might be going to that rally. And the reason why I might be going to that rally is I want to know, if you have this solidarity for the Palestinian people, what about the Israeli people that have lost their lives? On this flyer that I have, it says, in solidarity with the Palestinian people and their right to resist 75 years of occupation. What about 75 years of terrorist attacks, 75 years of people, the good people in Israel, in fear of their lives from suicide bombers? But you won't hear these people talk about that. But I will probably go to that event because I want to find out who these despicable people are. I want to know. I want to know why they're doing this. Why? Don't tell me it's because you're pro-Palestine, because if you were, where were your protests in the last 3 months or 6 months or year or years? Where were they? Why do you decide to do it after a terrorist attack by Hamas? And, you know, the Israeli version of 9/11. I mean, that's really what people are calling this, and rightfully so. That's what they should. That's what this is. Why would you hold these pro-Palestine rallies? And hey, listen, maybe you disagree with me, agree, I don't know. You can call in if you agree or disagree. I don't know. 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call, 702-221-7283. For the most part, the Republican Party, the one thing they do for the most part is they stand pro-Israel. For the most part. And yes, there are a select few despicable people within the Democratic Party, including those that are in the squad, that are anti-Israel. There's no question about that. I've talked about that every day. They're despicable. But for the most part, Republicans and Democrats agree that we need to be pro-Israel, and we need to back Israel, and we need to have their backs when it comes to this war. For the most part. Which is a good thing. Does that mean innocent Palestinians deserve to die? Of course not. I don't condone that at all. But when you have war, and let's be very clear on this, who is Hamas? Well, we know that Hamas is a terrorist organization. They have always been a terrorist organization. They have no regard for human life. We know that. They're doing it to their own Palestinian people, using their bodies as shields. We know that. Why don't you hear more Palestinians calling out Hamas? We know that Hamas is funded by Iran. We know that for sure. That's not even a question. That's not a debate. Iran and the Iranian government is funding Hamas. Many of these terrorists are out of Palestine. There are people that are Palestinians that are complicit, that have allowed this to happen. Not everybody, but many of these terrorists hide within the Palestinian people, if that makes sense. So there are some complicit people there. I'm going to tell you right now, those that are in this terrorist organization, Hamas, they also want people like you and me dead. They want innocent Americans dead as well. If they disagree with their religion, if anybody disagrees with their religion, if anybody disagrees with their ideology, Hamas wants you dead. It's not just Jewish people in Israel. Hamas wants you dead. They're no different than Al-Qaeda in that aspect. Hamas hates our way of life. They hate the freedoms that we have. According to Hamas, if a woman shows any skin at all, she'll be raped and killed. This is Hamas for you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. And again, the number if you would like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's start off with Patrick is first up on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Patrick.
What's going on, Brian? Hey, man, Hamas there, you forgot to mention that it was Israel and the United States that did create Hamas years ago. We supported them. We funded them. We advocated that they have elections. And then they won their election over there, and then we decided, okay, we got to bomb these people and get them out. So it was another...
How has Israel supported and funded Hamas? Let's start
Yasser Arafat, years ago.
Yasser Arafat is not an Israeli. Not Israel. Yasser Arafat was never pro-Israel. Yasser Arafat was a terrorist and who is responsible for killing hundreds of thousands of people, including his own.
Yasser Arafat was Palestine, and we helped Hamas.
Okay, Yasser Arafat has nothing to do with the Israeli government. I asked you a specific question because you're the one who made the statement that you believe Israel has funded Hamas. So now I'm asking you why.
They helped create Hamas years ago.
How?
Man, you can go back and
I
do
don't.
the
I'm
history.
not. Listen,
It's
you're
not
the one who made.
debatable.
You're the one who made the statement, not me. I'm asking you now. How? Don't tell me to go back and look up something. You're the one who made the statement, so I'm assuming you have facts. So I'm asking you, how did Israel fund Hamas? How did the Israeli government support and fund Hamas? Which is, by the way, an absurd statement.
This is decades ago, Brian.
I don't
This is-
care if
this
it
is
was
the same
100
thing-
years
this is
ago
like
or yesterday. Tell me how. You're the one making the statement, sir. This is why I get frustrated with you.
Financial support, advocate. Yes,
Okay,
there was
saying
all kinds of
financial
history.
support doesn't mean anything. Be specific. How did they do it?
They advocated on Hamas's behalf to create division there.
Okay, so
This
when
is
you
something
say
that has been
they,
known for a long time,
when you
we've been
say
funding
they-
both sides for many
okay,
years.
I'm not
Brian.
okay. If you want to talk about the United States, I'll have that conversation with you. You're the one who made the statement, which obviously I disagree with, that Israel has supported and somehow formed Hamas, which is obviously not true, but I'm giving you the opportunity to explain why, and you haven't. So I'll ask you again now for the third time. How did Israel fund and support Hamas, the same people that have terrorized their own people?
There's all kinds of articles on the internet.
Okay, all kinds of articles is not evidence. So now that we've proved that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about when it comes to
Hey,
Israel,
Washington Post. Who is Hamas and why did they? I mean, it's all here, Brian. I mean,
you haven't given me one speck of evidence to back up your ridiculous statement. Not one. Just because you say there's articles out there and do your own research means nothing. I give you the opportunity when you make a statement that I disagree with. I give you the opportunity to back it up with any sort of facts, which clearly you can't do. Now let me give you some facts, okay? Israel has never funded Hamas. Israel didn't form Hamas. They are a Jew-hating terrorist organization. For you to make that statement is like for us to say that we funded the 9/11 attack. It's not true. It didn't happen. And Israel does not fund the terrorist organization that wants Israel off the face of the earth. It's an absurd statement that you just made. It's absurd, Patrick.
Well, it's true, man. This
It's
happened in
not true. You don't know what you're talking about. Do you realize?
Happened in 1987.
Okay, you keep throwing things out there, and again, you have no evidence to prove anything that you've said, and it's absurd. You're saying that the Israeli government somehow formed Hamas and wanted a terrorist group to terrorize their own people. If Israel didn't defend themselves against Hamas, guess what? Israel wouldn't even exist. And why would you come up with a conspiracy theory like that after we know that probably thousands of innocent Israelis are dead? They behead babies.
Hey, Brian, we don't know that to be true yet. That report has still not been verified. It's
Oh, really?
same-
So Israelis weren't raped and tortured and killed. Is that what you're about to tell me right now?
I'm talking about the 40 babies that was reported. That has not been verified.
Okay.
We don't know that to be true. I pray it's not true.
Okay, well,
we don't know that it's
so
true. Just like the same thing about Iraq soldiers throwing babies out of incubators. That never happened.
Okay,
you have to be very.
Okay, so here's
these are emotional times.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to make a statement here, regardless of whether that's true or not, which I believe it to be true. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They want to kill as many innocent Israelis as possible. They've raped women. They've taken limbs off of children. There's videos that I've seen on the internet. Obviously, you haven't seen them. I have, where these Hamas terrorists go into these homes and they kidnap children. They execute people, they behead people, and you want to defend them and say, well, that might not be true. Why can't you just admit what they are? They're a terrorist group.
I'm not defending anything, Brian. I'm saying that we have to be very careful just to assume all of this reporting is accurate.
No, we don't have to be careful. Hamas is a terrorist group. They all deserve to die. I'm not going to be careful. Why can't you say that?
They
Hamas
all deserve to die?
Everybody in Hamas, they are a terrorist organization. You think those people should live? The people that rape women and have no regard for human life? You want to be nice to them? Is that you want to negotiate with them? Is that what you want to do, Patrick?
Well, I don't want to fly them cash like Obama and Biden did.
That's not what I asked you.
2015.
And by the way, that was Iran, and you have no idea what you're talking about. That had nothing to do with Hamas. Do you know why Barack Obama did that? Do you have any idea why Barack Obama did that?
Because he's in bed with them.
Wrong. Once again, Patrick doesn't know what he's talking about. The reason why Barack Obama did that is so that we could go to their nuclear sites and make sure that what they were doing in those nuclear sites. And by the way, that could have saved millions and millions of lives. That's why he negotiated that, so we could look at all their nuclear sites and make sure they weren't doing any wrongdoing, which I'm sure you didn't know.
But he actually flew cash, pallets of cash.
Oh, for
to
Christ's
Iran.
sake.
You okay
You know
with
what I
that?
find interesting in this conversation?
with that?
You know what I find interesting in this conversation? You're the first person to attack Barack Obama. You're the first person to attack Joe Biden. I haven't heard you say one negative thing about Hamas. What does that say about you, Patrick? Have a very nice day. I'm done talking to you. You seem to defend Hamas, but you want to attack Barack Obama. Pathetic. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan is next. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Brian, usually I call in and talk basketball with you and Mr. McKeskey, but
Yes,
I
sir.
just figured I would chime in and speak about this because my mother is an Israeli Jew and my father's Muslim, so I'm kind of like in between, you know, what's been going on from both sides of my family, you know, encouraging me to take a side. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. Number one, do you think that Vladimir Putin had anything to do with Iran
Great question.
backing Hamas?
Great question, Ryan. And, you know, I talked about this the other day. Phenomenal question. I'm going to tell you, yes. And here's why. It's taking the ball off of Ukraine. There's always a reason why Vladimir Putin does certain things. And I personally believe he is in bed with the Iranian government. Yes. And I believe he did that because nobody's really going to be talking about Ukraine, not in the media, at least for the next month. We're going to be talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So, yes, to answer your question, yes.
Okay, that's all I really had. Well, actually, one more if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I keep on hearing the news about this. I haven't been to Israel in many years, and when I was there, I wasn't anywhere close to Gaza, but from what I've been told, from what I've read, there's approximately 2.5 million people in 140 square miles in Gaza. And they really can't leave. The power's being turned on or turned off. No food, no water.
Right.
What can be done for the innocent Palestinians?
Yes, that's a fair point, and it's horrible. I'm not sure what can be done. What I can tell you, Hamas doesn't care. Hamas should have thought about that before they did what they did. The sad part about this, the sad part about a war is sadly innocent people are going to die. It's going to be Israelis. It's going to be Palestinians. I don't want either to happen. And there are good Palestinian people out there. And some of those Palestinian people out there, I would imagine, did not want Hamas to do what they did. But sadly, there are also Palestinians out there that are complicit, that are not speaking out enough on this. And that's what frustrates me more than anything, Ryan. And I hope I answered your question, sir. And Mr. Paul McKeskey will be in studio tomorrow. So please call back then. Okay, my friend?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Good questions. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate you. All right, here's what we're going to do. So coming up next, somebody that I certainly have a ton of respect for. He's a local rabbi in the community. He knows a thing or two about Israel, spent a lot of time there. Rabbi Vitzwein will be joining us next. And I want to get his thoughts on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I want to ask him about Hamas, his thoughts on the Palestinian people. So many questions I want to get to with him. And then we got Blake Wynn coming up in hour number 2 as well. We'll be back with the Rabbi right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. Hey, everybody. It's Brian Shapiro from Pushing.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
The Klondike Casino is a friendly local spot that features their signature restaurant, the Klondike Grill, serving up fresh food fast. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner just off the 95 freeway on Sunset Road in Henderson. You will find the Klondike Casino featuring all your favorite games from the Strip in the comfort of a neighborhood casino. You can place a bet at their full-service sportsbook or start your day with a breakfast plate that comes with your choice of potato and toast. Or check us out for lunch or dinner and try one of our many sandwiches like the popular beer-battered fish sandwich or the Philly cheesesteak. Check out the full menu at KlondikeSunset.com.
Everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Is your dog suffering
Buying
from a
or selling
sensitive
a home
stomach?
is a huge
Hi,
life event.
it's Kelly the
It requires
Cookie Lady.
guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust, someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Welcome to Hash House A Go-Go, where we've been serving farm food and crafted cocktails for over 2 decades. Visit us for the full Hash House experience at any of our 5 Las Vegas locations. Hash House A Go-Go is where old school meets new and gets twisted. We bring people together over good food and fun. Come in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and come hungry because our portions are huge. Visit us online to see our entire menu at hashhouseagogo.com. Hash House A Go-Go. It's a Midwest thing, and there's nothing else like it.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. So, as I'm sure many of you have heard and seen, the visuals on social media of, I can't even imagine what it must be like when you're having dinner with your family, you're in a home with your kids and your wife or your husband or whatever the case may be, and your life is just turned upside down in a second, and sadly for many people ending after being tortured. That's what the good people of Israel have been facing here, and it's just I can't get some of these visuals out of my head. But I do want to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I want to talk about Hamas. I want to talk about issues that the good people in Israel are facing. And I figured what better person to do that than a local rabbi here who used to do his own radio show, Rabbi Vitz Vine, joining us right now. And Rabbi, I wish we could meet under better circumstances, but I do appreciate you coming here. I thought it'd be important for you to talk about some of these issues, and I really do appreciate you being here. How are you?
Hey, thank God, fantastic. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, Brian, to see you and discuss. These are really important issues to
hard
to
question.
get through.
Hard first question to ask you,
Lay it
Rabbi.
on.
But I mean, what went through your mind? I mean, when you first heard about this?
So it was very interesting with me because as an Orthodox Jew, I'm the rabbi of Young Israel Aish, which is an Orthodox synagogue, in the West End over here near Kohler Ranch in Summerlin. So we found out about it on Saturday morning, which is Shabbos morning.
Right.
And this last Shabbos was actually a 2-dayer. So it was Shabbos, and then the next day was Simchas Torah.
Mm-hmm.
And as an Orthodox Jew, so we don't look at the news. We don't use electronics. We're not on the phone, not on the internet, not watching TV, not listening to the radio. And show up, policemen or the metro is right out in front of the shul. And Metro, by the way, has been amazing. We have had a constant police presence in front of our shul since Saturday morning, continuous the whole time. We've had cruisers there, plainclothes detectives. I mean, the whole thing. They're really watching us all the time. It's great. I spoke with the police captain yesterday. I said, it kind of makes me wonder, what do I need to pay for my own security for? I have security there, but I got Metro here. So anyway, but the thing is, so I walked in and, I see the police there and someone comes over. Oh, Rabbi, I'm so sorry with non-Jew. I'm so sorry what happened in Israel. I'm like, I have no idea what's happened in Israel. I didn't know. And then you heard about it. Of course, everyone's just talking about it a lot. And when you come into Young Israel Aish, so on the right-hand side, we have what we call the American minyan. On the left side, when you go back there, we have the Israeli minyan. I have a huge contingent of Israelis that are part of that. And a bunch of them were missing, and people are talking about it. So I had the unique challenge of hearing about it in piecemeal, really not, because the people around are not really getting the news. I'm not getting the direct news. You're getting it second, third hand in little pieces. And if that's all people are interested in. And it's Shabbos, it's our Sabbath. And it's followed by a Yom Tov. It's a 48-hour span of time where we're not looking into this. And I've got to guide the community. So I will share with you what I told them. I said, listen, it's forefront of what's going on in everyone's mind right now. Everybody has a role. Everybody in life has a role all the time. Mm-hmm. If you're in Israel, your role is get a gun, put on your report for duty, get on your fatigue, your military fatigues, and go kill the bad guys and save as many of ours as you can. That's your job, 100%. But we're not in Israel right now. We're in Las Vegas. So when you're in Las Vegas, you have a different role. So the most important mitzvah, the most important commandment or task that anyone has is the one that is in front of them right now. So when it was Shabbos, our role was to pray, to learn Torah, to be joyful in the spiritual merit of divine protection. I think it's important for people to realize, I think on Sunday night, there's going to be an event at Aaron, and I'm going to speak a little more about this idea. There's going to be 1,000 people there in support of Israel. But, Jews are always working on two levels at all times. There's the heavenly level and the earthly level. There's heavenly things we need to do, and there's earthly things we need to do. And the Jewish people are one people. I mean, humanity's one. Jewish people are one people. Some people have an earthly job. Some people have a heavenly job at the same time. The people that, and then it does cross over a little bit, and I'll explain that in a moment. But the people that are fighting, they got to wipe out evil. I mean, we don't turn the other cheek so the person can slap the other one. That's not us. We have to destroy evil, wipe it out without mercy. And that is powered by the people who are in the role of the spirit of the heavenly realm, and through the learning of learning Torah, doing the commandments, praying, and a lot of people pray. I mean, listen, you contact and you see it, even people that are not so religious, they pray now. It's important not only to pray, but to know your prayers make a difference.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
And you're a rabbi and you preach that, how the importance of prayer. And
Yeah.
by the way, I have no problem with that. And I would be lying to you if I said I didn't ever speak to God. At the same time, there are people that, as you know, good Jewish people that pray every day, that are faithful people, that have been tortured, murdered. And I don't know, I'm almost at a loss for words. Let me ask you this. When you see imagery of people that are pro-Palestine, that are putting on these pro-Palestine rallies, and I don't want to promote this, but there's one local organization that's putting on an event tomorrow.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind? Because for me, Rabbi, I say to myself, where were all these rallies months ago? Why do you decide to do these rallies days after all these innocent Israelis are killed? To me, in my opinion, it's a pro-Hamas rally.
It is a pro-Hamas rally. I'm glad you have that clarity. And, part of our earthly efforts in Las Vegas is to, it's clarity or death. I mean, normally when my rabbi said to me, clarity or death, he was talking about, spiritual death. Okay.
Right.
No, now it's very literal. It's our job if you're not such a religious person, so to speak, you're not praying so much, or even if you are just a little bit, but you want something to do now here. Yeah, okay, so you're going to give charity according to your means, but we have got to be committed to moral clarity and making sure people have moral clarity. And this rally,
it's disgusting.
They say it's pro-Palestinian, but you're right. It's not Palestinian.
Can I ask you a question
pro-Hamas
about Palestinians? And I agree.
Yeah,
we both 100% agree on that.
Yeah.
You agree with me, though, that not every Palestinian person is an anti-Semite. Not everybody in Palestine wants to kill innocent Jewish people. Because I believe while there are some Palestinians that feel that way, there's no question. I don't believe every Palestinian feels that way. And I think some of them are in fear of their own life that they speak out against Hamas.
So we have to now, because the task at hand is moral clarity, we have to be very, very careful with our words. So I'm going to answer in a precise terms.
Okay.
There are 3 levels of people living in Gaza. Oh, let's take Gaza specifically. There's the Hamas guy. That guy is sadistic, demonic, evil, terrorist. He is a murderer. That person should be killed. If he was in the room and he'd kill both you and I. Make no mistake. Yeah, he'd knock our heads off. If he could, he would. Okay. Then there's level 2. The level 2 guy is the guy in Gaza who Hamas is his leader. They were elected in 2007. They were elected. They are there. Okay. He's the leader. He benefits from him. He might not feel totally that I want to kill every Jew, but he's happy that these are his leaders. Let me put it this way. He's okay with it. And he might not want to protest so much because he's a little fearful, that kind of stuff. But he's complicit. He's complicit. And by the way, he should be killed too.
Yeah.
And from the Torah, again, the nice thing about, I've spoken before with you, the nice thing about being an Orthodox rabbi, the synagogue's Young Israel Aish, is these are not my opinions. I'm just plagiarizing rabbis from years and years ago. Right.
And I understand that.
And the third guy is the guy who you broadly were referring to, is the guy, he has his falafel stand and his hummus, and he just wants to live a good life. And he might be a little afraid to speak out against the leadership.
And I understand
or
that.
the second guy.
I understand that. My issue is more not Palestinians. It's the Iranian government, because as we know, the Iranian government has funded
evil.
Right.
These guys
they have funded,
be
right,
destroyed.
Rabbi? They have funded Hamas.
Yeah.
I don't want innocent Palestinians dead. I know you don't. Unfortunately, when Hamas has been harbored among those people, sadly, innocent Palestinians are going to die. Let me ask you another question.
But before the moral clarity on that, and it's very important. We speak about this a lot. Is every Gazan who dies is a result of Hamas.
Right.
Every single one, because again, they're the headquarters at the bottom of a hospital, and they keep munitions in the schools, and they use as human shields. And we know what's gonna happen because we're smart. We have the Torah. The blessing of the Torah is we ask that God, we appreciate God for his sukkah of peace. A sukkah, as you know, is a temporary structure. And we know that today the world's support Israel. But, in a week from now, 2 weeks, when the Gazans are saying, oh, now there's, 3,000, 4,000 Arabs have been killed, the world's going to turn against the Jews again. We know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And we've got to make sure that people are as clear as possible. As many people are as clear as possible.
No question.
The moral clarity.
I agree.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yivitzvai joining us in studio, a local rabbi here in Las Vegas. We're talking, of course, about the conflict, Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and of course, Hamas and these horrible terrorist attacks. All right. Got to bring a little bit of politics into this. Criticism I have on both sides.
Okay.
Let's start with criticism on the left that I think is fair criticism.
Yeah.
The squad. People like Ilhan Omar and Ocasio-Cortez and Tlaib, who are clearly anti-Israel. Omar going on Twitter, and yeah, of course she's going to say my heart goes out to the innocent people who died. But then on the other side, basically in her statement says that Israel doesn't have a right to defend themselves, and she's calling for a ceasefire. Are you kidding me? This is Israel's 9/11. Despicable and ignorant statements on Ilhan Omar's part, and I'm very upset with the squad. On the other side of things, I think most Republicans are pro-Israel, right? But there are some Republicans out there, like the Tim Scotts of the world, that are putting the blame on Joe Biden. Now, if you want to criticize that $6 billion payment, I think that's a fair conversation to have. But to make an insinuation that Joe Biden wanted a bunch of innocent Israelis to die, I think is disgusting and absurd. Just like 9/11, when people were saying George W. Bush wanted this to happen and it was an inside job. I don't agree with that any more than this. We can have criticisms for a payment that was made to the Iranian government, which, by the way, I don't agree with either. But I think to put blame on Joe Biden is absurd. And for Ilhan Omar to say that Israel basically shouldn't be allowed to defend themselves, also absurd. Agree, disagree with that?
Okay, so there's a few different points. Ilhan Omar, right? I believe in free speech.
As do I.
Right? We believe in free
Yeah.
speech. We're also against hate crimes.
Right.
And we're against enabling hate crimes. And in the same way that those Gazans that are just kind of like, they're not Hamas, but they're living in Gaza and they didn't protest. They elected, they stay quiet for whatever reason. Maybe they're afraid, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they are complicit in the heinous crimes of Hamas. And that's why, you know what, they should be wiped out too. Same way, Ilhan Omar, absolutely. She should be suspended from Congress, kicked out. We are at a point right now, this rally that's going to go on, pro-Palestinian rally, these are hate crimes. If a person goes out and they hear someone inciting hatred against Jews, they write down death to the Jews, death to the Jews. Okay, you know what? You know what's going to happen? Someone's going to go and kill a Jew. And that you're inciting the hate crime. So free speech? Yes, free speech. Not that.
Doesn't mean we can't call it out.
Yeah, it has to be called out. It has to be said what it is.
Right.
So Ilhan Omar, she's terrible. She should be suspended from Congress, if not worse.
She's an imbecile, and she's an anti-Semite, as far as I'm concerned.
A total
Yeah.
Jew hater.
Yeah.
And so that's the first point.
Do you think Ocasio-Cortez is? I wouldn't character. I agree with you with everything you just said about Omar. I don't know if I'd characterize Ocasio-Cortez as a quote, and I know you didn't say this, as a Jew hater. I think Ocasio-Cortez is extremely ignorant when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Do you agree or disagree?
Ignorant might be too nice. I don't think she's not a dumb person.
You think she thinks she's anti-Semitic?
I think she's. I think there's more. There's way more evil in there, and because of the time we live in, I think if you and I had this discussion last week, I think I would be softer, and I'd say, you know what? Let me look at her quotes. But now
it's a fair point.
We don't have the luxury.
You know what she needed to
be
do?
soft today.
You know what she needed to do? First statement. My heart goes out to all the Israeli people. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They need to be taken out. There is no excuse for that. Stop talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict now. It's inappropriate. You have a terrorist group that's gone in there and beheaded babies. Now's not the time to be talking about Palestinians, and I get it.
No, you have to. Every member of Congress, every human being should condemn Hamas, and in the same breath, or without the next breath being too deep, should say Israel has the obligation to defend itself.
And some have.
No, you know what people say? They say Israel has the right to defend itself. I don't like that, because it's giving credence to people who say they don't have the right. This is not a discussion here. It's not like, do they have the right? They don't have the right.
It's like saying we didn't need to go to Afghanistan after 9/11. Right? Doesn't make any sense.
There's an obligation to protect yourself.
Can I ask you a question about this, though? And this is a very complex issue, but I say to myself, Israel has some of the best capabilities as far as defending themselves, whether it be missiles, what have you. How the hell, and I know we're going to learn more about this, but how the hell does this happen? How does the Israeli government unable to defend themselves from these attacks? That's what's very disappointing to me. How did they allow this to happen?
Okay, I cannot give you an earthly answer, but I will give you a heavenly answer. It is the Almighty. When we see things that don't logically make sense to us, then it means that God has put his providence deeper into the situation. It is very clear from the Torah through all of our ages. when Jews don't get along with each other, when there's a schism in Jews, and before last week, if you go back, let's go to Friday morning. It's a Friday morning in Israel. There was a huge schism between the religious and the non-religious, between the leftists and the right, between on the judicial system, on other things. And when Jews don't get along, the Almighty brings an outside element to come and remind us all that we are brethren and we are family and we have to get together. And that's exactly what has happened. Jews were really split far apart, literally at each other's throats in Israel. Then Hamas comes in with this horrific attack, and now every Jew is hand in hand with his brother, no matter what their political affiliation, no matter what their religious identity is. They're all together because when it gets important, we all stick together. So on a spiritual element, I would say that's how it happens. Now, technically, with Iran and this and that I don't know. But spiritually, that's how it always happens.
All right, Rabbi Yvitz Vine joining us in studio. We're going to take some calls if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. 702-221-7283. And again, the number, a chance to opportunity to, ask me or the rabbi a question about what we're obviously talking about Hamas, what the attacks on Israel. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to, I believe it's Levi joining us right now on the line. Hello, Levi. Thank you for calling in.
Hello. How are you?
Doing okay, Levi. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just talking to Rabbi Wine on the phone before he got on the radio, and he thought that I should get on and talk to him about what's going on. So here I am.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on what's taking place in Israel? Do you agree or disagree with anything that we've said?
I actually just jumped on. I haven't heard the opening that you guys have been discussing.
Well,
I can go ahead.
Levi, we did. Brian did bring up the rally that's going to be on Thursday night. You had some very clear thoughts about the rally, and you had some thoughts about how Jews should respond. And I think that the listenership would actually appreciate your comments. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let me start by saying that, like everybody, I've been absolutely horrified and traumatized by what has come out of Israel. I've probably watched too many videos and images at this point.
Yeah.
But I have a very good understanding of what we're looking at. And so when I hear that there are Palestinian Hamas supporters that are living amongst us and cheering and celebrating the rape and burning and murdering of Jewish babies and women, I'm trying to understand why people are showing up to this rally to come light candles and sing and pray. These people would kill us. They hate us. They are Amalek.
Mm-hmm.
God commanded evil to be wiped out. Now, I'm not advocating any illegal acts or violence of any kind, but there are free speech rights like burning flags and signs that can say death to Hamas that I actually think are perfectly appropriate.
What would you say, Levi? Levi, so obviously I agree with you, and I think these pro-Palestinian rallies happening just hours, even some of them, after these attacks is despicable. I'm on your side, of course. I'm on the rabbi's side. With that being said, if I was to play devil's advocate and say to you, what if there are families in this country, and while they don't want innocent Israelis to die, they also don't want any members of their family to die, Palestinians as well, and that's why some of them are holding these rallies because they're worried about their own families. What would you say to that?
I would say that I empathize with them. War is a horrible thing, but this is war. And the fact of the matter is that the Palestinian people have put that group, that evil group, into power, and they've kept them there. And so, yes, there are innocent people that are going to die, but there's just no way that anybody can tell me they're going to rally and wave flags and celebrate after what just happened. Listen, if somebody wants to tell me that war is horrible and that they're sad that their family is there, I get it. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about evil people that have evil supporters
Yeah.
that are that are advocating your death, my death. That is what they want.
Yeah, if Levi, if I just jump in, I think something is very important to recognize. There's no Jews in Gaza. There has not been a Jew in Gaza since 2006. Okay, they were literally ripped out. The remaining 6,000 Jews were ripped out of there by the Israeli government to give the Gazans their own space, probably square mileage, similar to Las Vegas, actually, right? So it's 7.5 miles wide and 25 miles long, right? So it's like saying, and you guys, we're going to give you water. We're going to give you electricity. We're going to give you external security, right? That's all on the house. And you guys figure it out yourself. And what did they do? They took every one of their resources for the last years and tried to kill Jews that are not even amongst them.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that again, because these Palestinian protests, Ilhan Omar and AOC and all these people, they're propagating lies that make everybody more stupid. They're propagating moral cowardness at best, moral blindness at better, but it's moral corruption. Right. And they're doing that. So, we want to occupy the. Oh yeah, where are the Jews living in Gaza? There aren't any.
No, I think that's a good point.
So I think that's something that we have to say, because people don't know it.
Yep.
And to your point, I was just seeing some things that came out this morning where there were workers that they had allowed in from Gaza that actually were the ones terrorizing.
Yeah.
That was their repayment for helping them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, there's no question.
Can I leave you guys?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, every year we all go to synagogue to stand together in a ceremonial reading of how we are commanded by God to kill Amalek, every man, woman, and child. And we saw 3,000 years ago, King Saul almost pulled it off, but because he's a compassionate Jew, he was unable to finish the job. And that is why we are commanded to not be compassionate to evil people, because that is an evil deed. And we are now seeing the results of that. These are evil people that need to be destroyed. And if we are nice to them and polite to them in any way and care about our images as Jews where we want to be so respectable and polite, that's a real problem, because that's not what these people understand.
No, all these people need to be taken out. And I'm not talking about innocent Palestinians. I'm talking about the group Hamas, which is a known terrorist organization. I keep saying that over and over again. Hamas is a terrorist organization that has no regard for human life. Doesn't matter who you are. They're using their own Palestinian people as shields, as human shields. They have no regard for human life. Levi, I do appreciate the call, my friend. Good to hear. Thank you very much for hearing from me. Thank you.
Great
Brian,
talking to you
if
guys.
I can just add one phrase to your lexicon.
Yeah.
They are a death cult. In other words, again, we get used to the words and then they don't mean as much as what they're intended to mean. So terrorist organization. Yeah. They are a death cult. They always said as part of their charter, genocide to the Jews. That's
no doubt.
That is their charter. And now they just have the opportunity to act on what they've always believed. And the moral clarity compels us to let people know they're a death cult, they're genocidal.
No doubt.
That's who they are. And the people that allow them to stay in power are complicit and also should be punished.
So, Rabbi, I want you to stick around for one more segment if you can. I appreciate it, because now I want to ask you, where do you see this going? The future of Israel. How do you think the U.S. should respond? I want to ask you those questions when we come back, and we'll take a quick break. And again, if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, feel free to give us a call. It's 702-221-7283. Again, that number if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Greenwood Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Everybody, Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Welcome to Hash House A Go-Go, where we've been serving farm food and crafted cocktails for over 2 decades. Visit us for the full Hash House experience at any of our 5 Las Vegas locations. Hash House A Go-Go is where old school meets new and gets twisted. We bring people together over good food and fun. Come in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and come hungry because our portions are huge. Visit us online to see our entire menu at hashhouseagogo.com. Hash House A Go-Go. It's a Midwest thing, and there's nothing else like it.
Is your dog suffering from a sensitive stomach? Hi, it's Kelly the Cookie Lady from Mooch's Munchies. Our dogs had super sensitive tummies, and I needed to find a low-fat treat that wouldn't give them gas or other issues. Most of the treats on the market were loaded with fillers, chemicals, and chicken fat. Many of them weren't even food. Well, I knew I could do better, so I developed Mooch's Munchies, and I'm happy to be able to share them with you. Stop by our store or our website, moochesmunchies.com, and find out why we say that Mooch's Munchies are totally pawsome.
World Premium locally owned and operated. Come on down to Academy of Hair Design located at 5191 West Charleston Boulevard, number 150 today to begin your career in cosmetology. There is something for everyone from cosmetology to nail technology. You will be able to have the hands-on training that is needed to succeed in this career field. Call 702-878-1185 or visit www.ahdvegas.com today.
Film Festival Radio, Saturday afternoons at 3 on KSHP, North Las Vegas, AM and FM, 829 6HP, North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Programming note, by the way, I will not be here Thursday, Friday. Pushing the Limits will be here, but I'm taking a couple days off to go watch golf. And not to sound like Donald Trump, but I will be on the golf course. And Chris Wynn will be filling in for me next 2 days, so you'll be in good hands there. Paul McKeskey tomorrow, and Nicole Mitchell with Chris Wynn is must-listen-to radio on Friday. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're very happy to have Rabbi Yitzvine. I love having him in studio, a lot of respect for him, and love it when he comes in the studio and we talk about a lot of serious issues. And, last time we had him in, it was the BS that Kanye West was spouting out of his mouth, and that was, horrible. And now we have this, which is obviously a lot more serious. So much innocent life lost in Israel at the hands of these barbaric animals of Hamas. And we're taking your calls with the Rabbi at 702-221-7283. I know we have a few calls, Rabbi. Why don't we do that? Why don't we take a few phone calls? Why don't we start off with John? John is first up on Pushing the Limits. Hi, John. What's going on?
Hey, man. Rabbi, I wanted to ask you, do you think that the powers that be that created Israel after World War II had the ability to look into the future, and that future would include up to today, at the time that they made the decision to create Israel? Do you think they'd do it again?
Yeah, I do. I do. Thanks for the question. I do. I think that people underestimated the absolute hatred that the Arab nations had against the Jews. I think that there was a split. Israel was born out of the genocidal actions of the Nazis, and the world really did feel guilty by standing to the side while a third of the world Jewish population was exterminated like rats. And they felt guilty, and they allowed, a Jewish homeland to be established. And they didn't realize the absolute hatred that the Arab nations had towards Israel. But it's an issue of moral clarity, and then throughout the years, people would treat the Arabs like we treat ourselves. Oh, if you throw a little bit of money, if you have a problem, your cleaning lady is upset with you, throw a little money at her, and she'll be okay. Like she'll come back the next week. She'll keep doing that. But that's because we are Westerners, and the Arabs are not, and the hatred is very, very deep seated, and you cannot have a discussion with somebody who wants to kill you. Showing up with a knife to a gunfight is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And if and we have to recognize that, and then we have to be clear about that. Again, does every Arab want to kill the Jews? No, but every person who is part of Hamas and every person who is Hamas complicit wants to exterminate. They want to exterminate me, my family, everyone.
We heard that part, Rabbi. I think there's absolutely no way in hell the powers that be would recreate Israel the way they did after World War II. You know, what Hitler did was absolutely horrific. I would argue it's the second worst thing in human history. That's second only to slavery. But I think Israel is a total mistake, a total disaster. There's never going to be peace there, ever, ever, ever. And I think our support of Israel, look, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim. I like you both. I don't have a dog in the fight. But
wait, I'm sorry. Do you have a cell phone? You have a cell phone? Of course you do. You have a dog in the fight.
The point?
You know why? Because you wouldn't have cell phones if you didn't have Israel. Did you ever go to the hospital? Hold on, no. Think about it for a second. Think about it.
I don't want to listen to your crap, Rabbi.
No, thank you very much.
I
Why is that crap?
think America has been dragged into this. I think America's been dragged into this unnecessarily. I think it's led to the 9/11 attack. You hang up on me, you coward?
No, I didn't hang up on you, and I'm not a coward. I disagree with what you're saying.
Okay. No. If this was my show, I would hang up on you. And the reason is because you're being disrespectful.
Because you're a coward.
Whoa. Hold on. Let me take it from here.
Disrespectful.
Let me take it from here. John, we can have disagreements, but why would you call a rabbi a coward because you disagree with him on Israel?
Because he wants to hang up on me. Because he said he would hang up on me.
Well,
That's why I called him a coward.
Before that happened, you called him a coward. You guys have a disagreement on Israel, okay? You guys can debate that. It doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful. It's not like he's saying Donald Trump is the greatest person to ever live or he's the next Messiah. That would be ridiculous.
Okay, let me just make my point, and then I'll hang up, and you got the rest of the show, Rabbi, to defend yourself. I think our support of Israel has cost a fortune. I'm sick and tired of Benjamin Netanyahu coming over here acting like he runs the U.S. government. I think our support of Israel led to 9/11. And I think Israel is a total disaster. There's never going to be peace there. And we just continue to get sucked into this quagmire, and it makes me sick.
All right.
That's my point. Have a good day, Rabbi.
Thank you, John. Here's where I completely disagree with him. I disagree with him on a lot of fronts, Rabbi. I know you do. Israel is not the reason why we had 9/11. The reason why we had 9/11 had nothing to do with Jewish people or people of Israel. The reason why we had 9/11 is because Al-Qaeda, like Hamas, hate our way of life in the Middle East. They hate the freedoms we've had. They hang people out there if they're gay. The way they treat women, you can't even show your face, let alone your arm if you're a woman. Okay? The reason why we had 9/11 is because of Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden, people that hate our way of life, more evil, murderous dictators and terrorists that do not regard human life just as the same as Hamas. That had nothing to do with Israel, and I disagree with John 150%. Number two of what John said. Israel's done a lot of great things. Now, listen, whether it's a cell phone or what have you, I think to compare Israel to other parts of the world or even Hamas, quite frankly, is, and I don't think John did that, but it shouldn't matter whether you're a Muslim or Israel. John, you do have a dog in the fight because there's right and there's wrong. It doesn't mean you have to go out there with an AR-15 and risk your life for the Israeli people, but it does mean as a decent human being, and actually I do think John is a reasonable, decent person. I just think he's wrong here. You can call out right versus wrong. Okay, Israel would not exist if they didn't defend themselves. Hamas would take out the entire state of Israel. So yes, just because you're not Muslim or just because you're not Israel doesn't mean you put up your arms and say, well, I have no dog in the fight. Doesn't affect me. This affects the world. This is evil terrorism. And for you to not immediately call that out and then just to say, well, I really don't have a dog in the fight. We all should have a dog in the fight. It doesn't matter whether evil terrorist attacks happen in Israel or they happen in the United States. We're all human beings. We're all in the race together, and we all have a dog in the fight. That's what I'd like to say about that.
Yeah, John, you are morally blind. You are really morally blind, and again, and you're a Jew hater. Don't think because you don't just you say, oh, I don't like Israel, so I like Jews. No, anti-Israel is a Pollyannic cloaking of anti-Semitism. That's all it is. And I'm bringing this to your attention so you can look at yourself in the mirror. You don't like slavery. Good. I'm glad you don't. You realize if it wasn't for the Jewish people, you'd probably still be a slave. If it wasn't for Israel, you know what? The opportunities, the understanding of freedom and free speech and being having a liberal society, that has grown so much because of the Jewish people and because of Israel. You, John, you would be a slave right now if it wasn't for the Jewish people. So you look at yourself in the mirror and reevaluate where your values and the things you'll.
Well, John, just like John hates, for example, the extreme right, as I do, Donald Trump, or anybody who supports bigotry, treating people that are different because of their sexuality. It could be being gay, being transgender. I agree with John on those issues, but I also hate evil terrorists that kill innocent people. And we all do have a dog in the fight. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Edward next. Hi, Edward.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Rabbi. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm not gonna bring it globally. I'm gonna bring it locally. Rabbi, did you know yesterday was the capital punishment day? Did you know about that yesterday? In Texas, we executed a Jewish man last night. Did you hear about that?
Nope.
Really?
I didn't hear about that either, I'll be honest.
Okay, yeah, we had an execution last night in Huntsville, and the man that was executed was a Jew. And yesterday was the national abolishment of the capital punishment day. And I was wondering what you were thinking. If I didn't know, I thought you had maybe heard about that or so, but I just kind of wanted your opinion on the death penalty itself and what is right about it, what is wrong, and what's the end result that we should be doing.
So there are situations in the Bible, in the Torah, that death penalty the concept of the death penalty exists. The limitations are so incredibly extreme that we have not Jewish court has not performed death penalty in over 2,000 years.
Let me be very clear on what I think we should do with some of these Hamas people. Now, listen, this will never happen, but if I had it my way, I would gather their families, and I would have their families watch them be executed.
Okay,
but
right.
If I had it my way, that's what I would do.
Okay,
that's Edward. I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. I got to get to some other callers, but if I had it my way, that's what I would do. I would, and again, I know some people aren't for eye for an eye and that sort of stuff. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, 702-221-7283. That's personally what I would do to deal with some of these barbaric animals. I don't know if you.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean,
agree.
I've always
100% agree.
I have always been pro death penalty. I do agree with Republicans on that. 702-221-7283.
But it's not. This is not a death penalty with Hamas. This is war, and these people are trying to kill us.
Yeah.
They are celebrating killing genocide, and
I agree.
they need to be destroyed beforehand.
Agree.
So it's really not a death penalty. Is another issue.
Agree. All right, let's go back to the phone lines at 702-221-7283. Damon is next. Hello, Damon.
Hey, what's going on, Brian?
How you doing?
Hello, Rabbi.
Hi.
I have a question. I really hadn't met many Palestinian people, and I met a Palestinian at my job as therapist, and she told me the Palestinian side of it. I just got a question. Do you think Israel has made any mistakes, or is there something you would have did differently to make the Palestinian people feel the way they do?
No, Israel has been incredibly benevolent and incredibly generous to all the Palestinians. And by the way, you need to remember, of the 9 million people living in Israeli citizens, 2 million of them are Arabs, and they are all doing very, very, very well. And the Palestinians, so to speak, the people who live, in the West Bank and in Gaza, they have been rejected and shunned by all of their Arab brethren. They are used as pawns to be made an example of, only because of Jew hatred. And so that's what you have to realize. If you got to go there, you got to take a look at it. It's interesting. The reason I got a cell phone in 1995, 6, that's back in the time when it was like 75 cents a minute, was because I went to Israel and I saw some Palestinian kids walking around. Everyone had a cell phone. And I said, you know what? If these Palestinian kids could have a cell phone, I should have a cell phone too.
That's true.
In other words, and you have to go there. You got to see them and how good their lives are and how benevolent Israel has been. Just one last point. You got to realize Israel never, ever, ever, ever attacks the Palestinians when it's not if it's not provoked.
Well, I certainly don't disagree with that. Hey, Damon, it's always good to hear from you, my friend. I appreciate you calling in.
Brian, 1 second.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Brian.
Yep.
That 90% was even high for what I was thinking yesterday.
Oh, you're talking about the police. Yeah, I would like to have another conversation with you about that. I
Right,
appreciate.
that's cool. All right.
Yeah, for sure. Damon, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. All right, let's try to speed through a couple of calls here because I do have another guest coming up here. But let's go to Cassius is next, I believe, right? Cassius is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Cassius.
Yeah, thank you, Brian, and welcome, Rabbi. I will tell you that John that called earlier, I don't know if he's a Jew hater. I can tell you that he's gotten worse over the years just in terms of his political outlook. But he argues from a false premise in that in 1948, nobody created Israel. It was a reestablishment of a state that existed since 1020 BC under King Saul. It was a reestablishment of the original homeland of the Jews. Now, whether you believe that was granted or a covenant between God and the Israelites, that's up to you. However, in terms of the Jewish people, the Israelite people, the Hebrew people occupying that land, that's been since 1020 and even before that, 1020 BC under King Saul. So he's arguing from a false premise. Mm-hmm. I'll also say this, that to equate, and he equated slavery, well, he said slavery was actually worse. Which slavery is he talking about? The ancient Israelites in Egypt, the slaves that the Romans took in many of their conquests. But in the modern era, 20th century, there is no comparison. There is no worse crime than what happened under the Third Reich in view of their liquidation of Jews.
I agree. I just will say, in generic terms, we all know how terrible slavery was. I would say
but
even
Brian,
worse.
They were not murdered.
That's what I was just going to say.
They were not murdered wholesale.
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to finish my statement by saying, while slavery was atrocious, what's worse than slavery? Murdering people in front of their children, raping the mothers. That's what Hamas did a couple days ago. So I respectfully disagree with John. While slavery was atrocious, and I hate comparing atrocities but Adolf Hitler is responsible for Nazis for killing 7 million Jews. So I would say
6 million is the correct figure.
Hey, Cassius, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. I got to get to a few more calls, but thank you so much. Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's try to speed through a couple more, and then we got to take a break here. Let's go to Al. Al is next on Pushing the Limits. Hello, Al.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I was listening, and, I usually only call in when I have a comment that I think is worth it. I think the pastor said, the rabbi said it correctly, that if you don't have any sympathy for what's going on and the people are getting killed, you have zero moral compass.
Yeah.
You don't have any morals, man. You're just like way off. And there's a lot better ways to solve this, but going around doing what they're doing is just way off. And BLM, I think they should come and say something and denounce this.
Well, some of their social media platforms, and I don't know who from BLM said this, but some of the BLM people have taken the side of Palestine, and it's just it's just. Again, I've given you my thoughts.
This is
there.
ridiculous to solve your problems this way.
Yeah.
To go around and thinking that this is a way to solve problems. This is an outrage. This is non-human.
Yep.
And this is no moral compass.
Every Hamas individual
and I gotta thank
should be executed.
The rabbi for pointing that out.
Absolutely. Al, I appreciate you pointing that out as well and calling in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Not a problem. Bye-bye.
Well, Rabbi, these are very emotional, very difficult times, and I'm sure you would agree. I certainly appreciate you coming on and sharing your thoughts with us. Before we go, I would love to have you on again soon.
Of course.
Can you give out the information of your synagogue, how people can get involved and contact you?
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so again, the name is Rabbi Yitz Wein. I'm the rabbi of Young Israel Aish of Las Vegas. You catch my podcast. Life is Great. It's the name of the book.
I got to go on your podcast one day.
100%. Right, we'll have you there. And so Life is Great. That's the podcast and the book of the same name. And the synagogue is Young Israel Aish in Las Vegas. We are in Village Square. We're right next to the La Quinta Hotel, La Quinta Suite Hotel, and the Sierra West Library. Time to show up is we're there every day for different classes of all kinds of things. But check out a Shabbos. Come out on a Saturday morning, 10:30 in the morning. Stick around for the Kiddush and schmoozing. You'll meet great people.
My parents, I'm sure, would love the food.
They would love the food. Food's great.
They love the food. Rabbi, thank you so much for being here. We all can use the term pray. We hope, we pray, whatever religion you are, that the loss of innocent life, we never want to see that. And this is just horrible. And my thoughts and prayers are out to all the people of Israel and what they've had to go through. It's just mesmerizing. It's just terrible. Right. Rabbi, thank you so much for being here. All right,
thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, he is the grandson of our former governor, right? Kenny Gwynn. Blake Gwynn going to be joining us in studio next from Keller Williams. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Ringwood Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
The London Bridge Resort in Lake Havasu is the perfect place to vacation in style. Their beautifully designed suites include stunning views, a kitchenette, and free Wi-Fi. The well-reviewed and affordable resort has tons of amenities, including a breakfast buffet, kids camp, a 9-hole golf course, 3 pools, a marina, boat tours, a water slide, and a great nightlife scene. London Bridge Resort is centrally located in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Go to londonbridgeresort.com to plan your getaway today. London Bridge Resort, your Arizona oasis destination.
Hungry for the best barbecue in Las Vegas? Come out to the infamous barbecue and meat market, John Mull's Meats and Roadkill Grill in Las Vegas. John Mull's was featured on the Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Now take home delicious meat selections for your grill, and while you're there, grab a bite of the best barbecue in Las Vegas. With 2 locations now at Tom and Gowan or on North Decatur, you're sure to find the perfect meats for your next barbecue or party. Find us online at johnmullmeats.com.
Big Dogs Brewing Company, open 24/7, is an award-winning brewery, a full-service catering business, and a fun, smoke-free brew pub restaurant with a full-service bar, including over 35 craft beers on tap, 35 multi-denomination slot machines, the best gaming promotion, and a lively, dog-friendly outdoor patio. Big Dogs Brewing Company, 4543 North Rancho at Gregg. Find out more at BigDogsBrews.com.
Diners, the Nevada Style Pub invites you to play the best tavern, keno, and video poker in Vegas. Promos are how we roll to make the most of your gaming dollars here with us. Come play our proud partner gaming promotion, Fly Aviators Fly, and receive daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win awesome brand of prizes and big money for all the jackpots each week. It's not only great gaming that Diners Pub has, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers, and Vegas' best appetizers to match. So join us in supporting your Las Vegas Aviators, Golden Knights, Lights, Aces, and the Raiders, and we make history in Vegas. Diners, the Nevada Style Pub at 8410 West Cheyenne, 1750 North Buffalo, and Las Vegas Boulevard at Windmill. Diners, I love this place.
Located only 4 miles from downtown Colorado Springs and just 10 miles from Pikes Peak, Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods offers spacious rooms featuring contemporary decor with stylish furnishings, including divided living and sleeping areas, the Hyatt Grand Bed, state-of-the-art media and work center, a 42-inch flat-panel high-definition television that easily integrates with laptops and other devices, and complimentary breakfast is included in your stay. Hyatt Place Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods at 503 West Garden of the Gods Road. Visit HyattPlace.com.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Always a pleasure having the rabbi in studio. By the way, he's not a coward. While they're calling him that, inappropriate, not true. And for the record, when I hang up on people, it's usually because they're idiots or they say something that is moronic. Like, for example, Israel funded Hamas. You're an idiot if you say something like that, and you will be hung up on. It's okay to have debate and disagree, but when you go to that level, I'm not going to waste any time. Anyway, with that being said, programming note, I will not be here Thursday and Friday to some that might enjoy that and like that news, but Chris Wynn will be filling in for me the next 2 days. Regular guests on Thursday. Paul McKeskey is going to be on. Nicole Mitchell is going to be on Friday. Brian, why are you taking a couple days off? Well, I'm going to be watching some golf at the Shriners Hospital for Children's Open. And I don't mean to gloat about this because I don't even think I've even said this on the radio yet, but I am going to the Aces game tonight. I will be sitting courtside with a very famous lady, and I'll just, leave it at that, and then you could make your opinions on it on social media. But she's been in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and she was very good in that Will Smith movie, Independence Day. Yeah.
She is a fox.
She is a fox. You're right about that. Anyway, speaking of fox, joining us in studio right now. Always love having my good friend Blake Gwynn in studio from Keller Williams. Of course, as I mentioned, his grandfather, the late great Kenny Gwynn, one of the better governors certainly we've had in Vegas in decades and decades and decades. And always good getting Blake's perspective on everything. We could be talking about the housing market, we could be talking about the Vegas Golden Knights, or we could be talking about Israel. And Blake's always game, and I appreciate that. Blake, how's it going, my man?
Man, I am good. Thank you for having me in. I don't even know what day it is today. They all blend in together.
And they do.
I'm jealous of your event that you're going and who you're sitting next to tonight.
Can I say this?
Yep.
We took a picture in studio last week. Or was it? No. Was it like 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
And you look, it's incredible that I never realized how much you look like Canelo Alvarez. So this is funny. So we take a picture, and by the way, it was an unbelievable picture because you couldn't ask. He looked exactly like Canelo, and he's got the fist up. And this was the week of the fight. And I put it up on there as a gag, right? And I'm thinking, like, nobody's going to believe this, right? 9 out of 10 people that commented and liked the picture actually thought you were Canelo Alvarez. It's unbelievable. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, I'm just that handsome.
It's incredible. I couldn't believe how many people believed it.
Oh, well, I've gotten it a couple times at or Chris Pratt, but as you age and
Canelo with the red, with the beard, you look at that picture was anyway. That was very funny.
Yeah, I'm an off-season Canelo.
Congratulations, by the way, on winning the fight a few weeks ago.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on that. Anyway, Blake, we got a lot to get to before we talk about the housing market, of course, and things are ever changing. Before I get to that, any thoughts on what's going on, like as far as Israel is concerned and what's taking place? Because we've been talking about that for the last hour. And
my thoughts and prayers are with Israel. I condemn Hamas, and they are terrorists. They are warlords. They are thugs. And anybody who is supporting their cause, I do not have any respect for you. And I hope this doesn't lead to another war where the U.S. gets involved. But man, my wife's family, her uncle is Jewish, and he has family in Israel. Thankfully, they got out safe. It is such a horrible situation. I'm very thankful to be born and raised in America and not have to deal with that on a constant basis.
We all are, yeah.
But from the Jewish side, man, I just got done saying, like, since their inception, they have just been persecuted throughout centuries and centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sad. I don't condemn war, or I don't support war, and I condemn the actions of Hamas.
Yeah, and I wish everybody would speak that tone, and instead of the first thing some will say, "Oh, I support Palestine." Okay, well that's fine, but maybe now's not the time to be holding these protests about Palestinians. After all these innocent Jewish people in Israel have been massacred, maybe you might not pick the best time to do it.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with supporting innocent Palestinian people. I don't see anything wrong with that. But now, days after an attack where all these innocent people in Israel have been slaughtered.
No, and for me, from my perspective, I'll probably catch heat on this, and that's okay. For the Palestinians that were there that don't want to take heat for their support of Hamas should have booted Hamas out earlier.
Agree.
If you are if you're there and you have any association with Hamas, then in my opinion, you are a part of Hamas and you support them. and I do not support that.
I'm with you. I'm with you, my man.
And I'll take heat for that, and that's fine.
No, well, you shouldn't take heat from that. If you take heat for that, then they're on the wrong side of history. There's no question about that. Well, let's talk about some other than obviously what's taking place in the Middle East. Maybe some more pleasant things to discuss because boy, there's a lot. It can make you crazy watching the news today, right? I mean, there's just so many crazy things going on in the world. We could be talking about the Trump indictments. We could be talking about Hunter Biden. We could be talking about right-wing fringe groups, left-wing fringe groups. I've been very critical of the Squad, especially lately.
Oh, God, Squad.
There's so many things in the news that we could be discussing, but let's try something on a more lighthearted note, because I didn't want to really depress people and have you in and talk about all these horrible things that they have to be talked about. But on a lighter note, you've grown up in Las Vegas. You've lived here your entire life with your family. Last night was a very special night at T-Mobile Arena. Very special to see a banner that is the Stanley Cup champions in the Vegas champions. I'm starting to talk like Donald Trump now. United States of America, the champions, the Vegas Golden Knights, raising the banner. Very special night in Las Vegas.
It was. So I was not able to go. My wife's out of town on work, and so I'm watching the kids, and so I got to watch on ESPN, even though it was delayed. It was such a cool moment. But let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
In Vegas fashion, I expected a little bit more, I don't know.
You didn't like
flair,
the slot machine?
A little bit more flair. Like, not only does ESPN say, hey, we want everybody to watch the banner raising. Like, this is Vegas's moment to, like, wow, everybody. I mean, I have seen pregame shows against the Jets, and we have just the most amazing show. And it just was so underwhelming.
You needed like Wayne Newton to like fly out of the rafters or something, or David Copperfield to show up.
Slot machine. It just was so.
A couple lions on the ice, something. Yeah.
But other than that, I was so proud of the Knights. They came out and just
they played a
Kraken.
full 60 minutes. I mean, they really played well last night. Yeah. I mean, and Aiden Hill is like Mr. Confidence. I mean, he looked like right where he left off in the Stanley Cup Finals. I said that earlier. He looked really good yesterday. Yeah,
great.
Yeah. And by the way, our backup goaltender is an NHL All-Star in Logan Thompson. I mean, so the goaltending is A+. You would argue better than last year because now you have Logan to back up Aiden Hill, which I think is appropriate right now anyway. And the team has not gotten any worse. The Barbashev re-signing to me was more important than anything. Say what you want about Riley Smith. Riley Smith, very good player. But Barbashev is a two-way player. Not only can he score goals, but he's physical. He's big. And Riley Smith was not a physical player. Good goal scorer, not a physical player. The Barbashev re-signing, I think, was huge. Some minor additions here and there. But if you got Mark Stone healthy, and Marchessault playing at the level he will play, I think if he's healthy, and Carlson, playing at his capabilities, there is no reason for me to believe, with Cassidy at the helms again, really, really good head coach, that they can't contend to go back-to-back.
They should have a run like the Lightning did for those 3 or 4 years and just dominate. But again, it's going to come down to injuries.
Right.
Can Mark Stone stay healthy for the whole season? And that's the way he goes is the way the team goes. That's the way I think about it. Because watching him carry out the cup last night, that's his team. As long as he stays healthy, possible MVP candidate too.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think this year is going to be a wild ride, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know where you are on the Raiders. I know they just beat the Green Bay Packers. I know you're a football fan. I've never been a Josh McDaniels guy. Never will be. They beat a bad Packers team with a bad offense. But they could beat the Bears. They should beat the Bears. They should beat the Patriots. They could win 3 games in a row, but people are going to be saying, yeah, you see, I told you so. If the Raiders are 4-4, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't, they're not going to beat any elite teams in the NFL. They're just not a very good football team.
Jordan Love is a backup quarterback. I think he's proved that now. He does not process the game as fast as he should, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for all those years. The Raiders are, I will say, a bright note on the Raiders. Their defense looks good. Their cornerbacks look great.
Would you characterize their defense as good? I would say average. I love Max Crosby. Don't get me wrong.
I think that they're really starting to gel right now. I think that they're an average to good defense right now. What really kills them is the offensive play calling, which is unimaginative. I think Josh McDaniels was probably a horrible hire. Anybody that gets hired from the Belichick tree, typically, except for Mike Vrabel, has done very poorly. The offense is a joke.
Agree.
The run game is an absolute joke. And I will go out and I will say that they will lose to the Bears. I think Justin Fields will go out. He'll throw for 250,
that's really
and he'll
bad.
have 2 rushing touchdowns.
That will be really. When is that game, by the way? Trying to remember when that game is.
I don't know.
They play
tend
the Patriots.
They tend to give really bad teams all of like the Thursday and Monday night games, so it'll probably be one of those.
The Bears really are god awful. Their defense is terrible, but you could make the argument maybe their offense is just as good, if not better, than the Raiders. So I can understand why you would say that.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. With that being said, also, God, not like there's not a lot of stuff going on in the sports world here. The Las Vegas Aces are in the WNBA Finals, Game 2 tonight.
My daughter and I will be watching that game. I'm really excited.
You'll see me on ESPN.
I am going to be. I'm going to be watching to see what kind of Fox you're with.
For once in my life, I get to go to the game as a fan, not a member of the media. So that's going to actually be very enjoyable for me. Tom Brady and LeBron James were at the game, the first game. That was pretty cool on Sunday. I don't know who's going to be there tonight. I know Tank is singing the national anthem. That's all I know.
Did I read that Tom Brady is a co-owner?
He is. He
That's
owns,
pretty cool.
I don't know if I'd call it a co-owner, but he certainly owns a piece of the team.
Ownership.
Not as much as Mark Davis, but he got some ownership. Mark Wahlberg was at the game the other day. I don't know if he'll be there tonight. Yeah.
I think. Can you imagine that the Aces win as an expansion team, the same with the Knights, and they each go back to back this year?
It'd be incredible. It'd be incredible.
That'd be the greatest thing for Vegas sports since the 90 Rebels.
Well, Aces fan might, yeah, that's true. Aces fans might not like what I'm about to say, and I hope I'm wrong. I think the Liberty win tonight. I think their backs are against the wall. They have too many Hall of Fame players. Breonna Stewart obviously being one of them. She was not very good. The Aces guards could not have shot the ball any better in game one. The Liberty guards could not have shot the ball any worse. I think we're going to see a very competitive game. I think the Liberty are going to be playing like their backs are against the wall, and I think they win tonight. If they don't win, the Aces are going to win this series. If New York does win this game, then the Aces are in trouble because now they have to win a game in New York. So this is a huge
It's a huge game for both sides. I'll be honest, I don't watch enough of the WNBA to know all the players and everything, but from watching highlights and reading on Bleacher Report, I do know that the Liberty throughout the year have been the superior team.
A'ja Wilson, in my opinion, is the best female basketball player in the world. She's the best two-way basketball player and the best all-around. Breonna Stewart, say what you want about her. I'm sorry, I take A'ja Wilson over Breonna Stewart. So
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, I really do. And I'll take Becky Hammon over any coach in the WNBA. And in fact, maybe most coaches in the world. She's a hell of a basketball coach. So we'll wait and see what happens here. But I expect the Liberty, they're a very well-coached team, and I expect them to play hard and play like their backs are against the wall. I will be talking trash on the court.
Good.
Yes, with my guests. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to the game tonight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a nice atmosphere at Michelob Ultra Arena, and certainly looking forward to it. Where have I not? I haven't even touched on the PGA Tour. The Shriners Hospital for Children's Open this week. Lexi Thompson, LPGA player, playing in this PGA event, which is history in the making.
Very
so
exciting.
That'll be fun. We have NASCAR in town this weekend. I mean, you grew up here. What are we not? I mean, we need the NBA, of course, but
that's the missing piece is the NBA.
Yeah.
You have the greatest hockey team, Raiders. You've got a fantastic WNBA team.
Right.
I really don't care if we get an MLB team. I just don't care. I don't think the expense, and I don't think that they'll actually bring over anything favorable. They've proven that. You've got NASCAR, you've got F1, which I've heard a lot of the locals are not happy with all the construction downtown and on the strip. But man, this place is popping lately.
It really is, and it's just getting better and better. I'm not a big fan of what's going on with Formula One as far as the construction and the traffic, and I'm not a big race car guy.
Yeah.
I never watch it. I don't think my entire life I've watched race car driving, NASCAR, whatever, Formula One.
You met
ever.
Mike McNamara, my business partner.
Yes.
So he was like, hey, you got to watch the F1 series on Netflix. And then I got kind of hooked, and he got really into it. So he'll wake up on like Saturday mornings at 6 a.m, watch it.
Yeah.
But everybody that I know that works down on the strip is like, F1 is horrible.
Yeah.
The way they're kind of, going around and kind of like mafia style to some of the businesses, and like, God, what's that restaurant? Mon Ami Gabi, essentially saying, hey, give us $5 million or we're going to put up stands right in front of your balcony. And so I know a lot of the locals down there are not happy with.
No,
with the way
I'm
the
not. I'm
process
not a
has
big
gone.
fan. Although I will be honest, I am a fan of people wearing M&M suits, getting in physical altercations. That's always fun when they fight one another. These races, they get out of their car in their M&M outfits and start getting in. That's always enjoyable to me. But I'm not a big NASCAR fan. I'm not a big Formula One fan. Is it great for the city? Sure.
Yep.
I'm sure your grandfather would have agreed that it's great for the economy. It's great for Las Vegas. But I'm not a big fan of watching cars go round and round. I'm just just not really my thing.
I'm with you. It's not my cup of tea.
No.
It does generate millions for our local economy with the jobs and everything, hotel rooms. So I'm for that, and I support anybody who wants to go out there and because that's a heck of a drive. You're gonna be sitting in a ton of traffic going out to the NASCAR Speedway.
I'm gonna stay away, man. I am staying,
helicopter in if you can.
Yeah, I'm staying away. That is for sure. All right, we've covered from the sports aspect. I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about your expertise, which is of course buying or selling a home over there at Keller Williams. The market is ever so changing, right? We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and it continues to change. Explain to our listeners where we're at right now.
Okay, so for right now, we are in probably uncharted territories, is let's way to call it. So mortgage demand right now is the lowest it has been since 1996. So what does that mean? It means less buyers that are in the market right now. Reason why? The Feds continue to raise interest rates, and then you had prices that have not come down on these homes. And so on an average $300 home, that mortgage payment has gone up from the past 2 years from, say, $1,800 to almost $3,000 for a $300,000 home. And so a lot of people that are in the middle to lower income are currently being priced out of this real estate market. And it is vitally important to work with a listing agent who can relay that information to a seller because every seller, I would say about 80 to 90% of any offers that the sellers get on their homes are going to be asking for seller contributions to help buy down the rates. And that's going to be across the board. And so you have to be prepared for that. Interest rates are getting so bad right now that the National Association of Realtors, the National Association of Home Builders, and mortgage brokers all got together and wrote a letter to the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, saying if you continue to raise interest rates, you're going to crash the economy. You're going to crash the real estate market. You just don't have inventory right now. Right now, you do have inventory. It's climbed up, but sales have fallen almost 40% since the summer.
Wow. Why?
Because of interest rates.
Because of how high interest. Wow,
Yes.
That's interesting. And who's to blame for that?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Is it Biden? Is it Trump? It's
the blame game.
You know what? In my personal opinion, it was all of the money that we spent during COVID. I think COVID was a main factor in what's causing an issue in our real estate market. I think that both sides tried to put money into the economy since it was shut down, and I think they went about it the wrong way. I don't know what the right way was during COVID, but there was so much free money out there. The interest rates were so low that everybody could get into it. And pricing was right there where investors came in and started swooping up and buying anything priced below 500. So the COVID years is kind of what put us into this situation. And COVID, with all the spending, and we weren't making enough, that has caused inflation as well.
Interesting. And what advice, I'm sure, on a daily basis, you're speaking with a lot of clientele. What advice do you give them if people are thinking of buying and or selling? Well, I don't think they're going to be buying and selling at the same time. That's hard to do, although, there are some people that do that. But what advice would you give somebody right now that, hey, I want to buy a home in Las Vegas. What should I do next?
Well, the first thing is to sit down with a realtor and possibly their preferred lender and just making sure that you actually do qualify. Nothing worse than going out, not pre-approved, not knowing what your budget is, and going out there and saying, I want this house, and then realizing you can't qualify for that property. It's also vitally important to know all the expenses that you're going to go along with buying a property. You have your down payment, you've got your high interest rates, taxes, insurance. If you're in an HOA, you have closing costs, home inspection, appraisal, and all that really adds up. So you can't just go into it willy-nilly and just have a couple bucks in your pocket. If you're selling, what we're doing to our sellers right now is we're taking inventory that's currently on the market, let's say we do a radius of about 2 miles outside of it with comparables. We do about 30 to 50 homes. And what we're seeing right now is the highest price, the top 30 highest priced are not selling at all. The middle pack are going to sell, but you're going to have multiple price reductions. And then what you're looking at is the bottom 30% of those homes that are priced lowest will sell. And so now it's saying, hey, where do you guys want to price your home? Do you want to sell your home? Do you want to sit on the market? Or do you not want to sell? And so that's kind of how we're trying to help approach and try to price these properties correctly for sellers, because it is a tough market out there right now.
So obviously a client would have to, or I should say a prospective client, reach out to you, speak with them and their lender, and then try to come up with a solution. How do people go about doing that? Do they just call you directly? Do they contact Keller Williams? How do they go about that if someone's thinking of buying?
Don't contact Keller Williams. Just call me.
Okay.
So it's Blake Wynn. I am with Keller Williams, but our group is Willow Manor at Keller Williams. My phone number is 702-540-3311. Again, it's 702-540-3311. And then for, pushing the limit customers, any listeners are out there, if you do close with us, we're giving you guys $1,000 cash back.
Woo!
And that actually can go a long way in
That's awesome.
helping to, one, reduce your interest rates and or just overall expenses that you're going to be having with that house.
I'm thinking call 540-3311. Sorry, I was thinking of an attorney in town that has those commercials. Yeah. 540-3311.
You remember when he was the Hammer?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. There are some interesting commercials out there for numbers, I should say, billboards around the valley. We got to get you on a billboard. That's what we got to do.
No, I was on a billboard once.
Buying or selling, and we need a
It was
we need a Canelo picture with you with your with like your fist. Fight for I don't know. Fight for homes at a cheaper rate. I don't know. With like a fist right there. I don't know. You never thought of, I don't know.
No, I never thought about that.
Never thought of doing that.
No.
Ask your wife. see if she'd be up for that. Well, no, in all seriousness, we had a great time at your charity poker tournament a few weeks ago, raising money for the Ronald McDonald Fund. Man, I had so much fun.
We had a good time.
It was really great at Arizona Charlie's, and again, raising money for charity, and everybody had so much fun. Some of my listeners showed up. I appreciate all of them.
Yeah,
for
I appreciate
stopping
them too.
by. And you're a charitable man.
Well, I appreciate it.
Please give Blake a call. 702-540-3311. I had to throw that in there. Also known as Canelo Alvarez. Always love. Blake, you got to come out to the Shriners with me this week. You got to come out.
I will
one day.
try. It
All right.
all depends upon when my wife gets back in
Gotta
town.
do
She's
it.
in Park City right now for a conference.
Oh.
So I've got the kids all by myself all week.
Oh, so no like night out in the town. You got the kids.
Good Lord, no. Good Lord.
That's why I don't have kids. I love kids, but I don't have any. That's why. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. And
Thanks, man.
We want to support what you do. You support the show. We want to support what you do. Give Blake a call. Again, that number is 702-540-3311. Blake, I'm on a 4-day weekend vacation, I guess you could call it. So Chris Wynn is going to be filling in for me Thursday and Friday.
Do I have to listen to that?
And yes, you might have to. I don't know. You might have to. And yes, I am taking Vivica A. Fox to the game tonight. I'll have some stories for you guys on Monday, that's for sure. She's awesome, so I'm really looking forward to that. Mutual friend, Miguel Nunez Jr., who was in Joanna Man.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I met Vivica. So we're going to have a great time. I can't wait. Go Aces go, right? They say go Knights go Aces go.
I'll be watching it.
All right, Blake. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate you being here. Chris Wynn will be filling in for you tomorrow and Friday. I'll see you live on Monday. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
You gotta fight for your right.